Welcome to Swing Left Academy's instructional video on virtual phone banking, or VPB.
Or, as the kids call it, virfo-ba.
No one calls it that.
Well, the kids do.
Well, we're going to tell you about the importance of making phone calls in an election, so pay attention, which means put down your phone. Yeah, you too. Phone banking is an easy and effective way to mobilize voters, and it also helps free up other volunteers so they can canvass door to door, which is even more effective.
So we need every voter to go to the polls, and phone banking helps identify potential voters so campaigns can focus their get out the vote efforts on them.
And virtual phone banking is a way to call voters and enter response data directly from your computer, and you don't have to go to a campaign office or a house party to do it.
Yes, you glorious shut-in. Even better, by using VPB, you can help out a campaign on your own time and on your own schedule. You can do it while you're in your pajamas.
But do not mention that to the person on the other line.
Of course, you don't have to make calls alone.
You can invite friends over and throw a virtual phone banking party.
Or a virfo-ba par.
No. To get started, you'll just need a computer. Tablets can be tricky, so if you're using one, test it out before you settle in to start calling. You'll also want to make sure you've got steady Wi-Fi access and that you're using a charged phone.
And you'll want to make sure you're using an actual phone and not an ice cream sandwich. Boy, I have been burned before.
Different campaigns use slightly different phone banking platforms, but here are the basics.
Now, you may have to create an account and log in. If it's your first time, it might take a moment to set up your profile. Make a note of your password so the next time you can log in quickly. You'll see who you're calling, including voting or location information for that voter, the information you need to enter based on the call,
and where to enter response codes to describe how the person you reached responded. Were they a supporter, undecided, a mole person? Entering response codes is vital. If you don't enter the response, it doesn't count. You'll talk to about 20% of the folks you try to get in touch with, so your goal shouldn't be the number of people you talk to, but instead a total amount of time that you spend making calls.
Which you can also measure in the number of bathroom breaks you take. I'm already at 4, and that was just while filming this video.
Make sure you're somewhere comfortable, since ideally you'll be making calls for a while. Finally, be sure to familiarize yourself with the script before making calls and practice a few times.
Even Meryl Streep practices before she phone banks.
I didn't know Meryl Streep phone banks.
Meryl Streep can do anything.
Oh, big fan. Now it's time to give you a few tips for when you're actually making calls.
Now, this may sound a bit odd for a phone conversation, but smile. It can make a big difference on the other end of the line.
Make the script your own. Stick to the main talking points and do your best to get through all the questions and get responses from the voter, but keep in mind, the script is just there to guide you. If you repeat it verbatim, you're gonna end up sounding like a robot. Most importantly, be authentic. You know you're passionate because you're volunteering to make these calls, so share your enthusiasm with them. Making a real connection will make the conversation that much more productive. You'll want to stay focused. Making calls can be tiring. Seriously, people avoid having to make calls as much as they can, but what you're doing is important.
And don't be afraid to say that you don't know an answer. You don't have to be a policy wonk, although you should have info from the campaign about the candidate.
But don't argue. Try to pivot back to the script if the call is getting testy. Politely end the conversation. If someone's rude, brush it off and move on to the next call. To keep up your energy, stand up and walk around at least every hour. But keep in mind, these breaks don't count towards your phone banking goals.
But they do count towards your procrastination goals. Man, I can never seem to reach those.
So that's it. Phone banking is an incredibly effective way to drive voters to the polls. It's easy, it's fun, and it makes a real difference. And now that you've watched this, you're ready to win elections from the comfort of your own home.
It's as easy as picking up the phone. Oh man, not again.
Wait a minute, was that in your pocket this whole time?
No.